is a news show.
Hello, and welcome to the Monday Show. If you're not familiar, my name's Philip DeFranco, and this show really isn't a show. It's just me talking about some of the stuff that mattered in the news to me, starting with, I'm in a very good mood because Breaking Bad just signed for 16 more episodes. Most likely that's gonna get split up into 2 more seasons, but yeah, it's the best show on TV! Around for at least the end of 2012, probably longer if we do not die. Not saying the world's gonna end December 21st, 2012, but I don't know if I'm just getting older or kids are getting more retarded, but like this is our future.
This is Captain Awesome, about to get shot with an artillery shell. Block that shit.
Like, at max, he's 2 years away from voting. The children are our future. Oh, that sucks. And then we move on to Charlie Sheen's continued downward spiral. Because not only did he lose the highest paying job on TV to Ashton Kutcher, that's gotta sting. And not only did his ladies leave him, but he has been downgraded to being a host at the Gathering of Juggalos. That event may sound familiar because about a year or so ago, we talked about how the Gathering of Juggalos tried to kill Tila Tequila. She had to get bandaged up because they were like throwing rocks and beer bottles at her. They're like shaking her trailer. But yeah, Charlie Sheen hosts. And I do have to give him props. He does have warlock powers / speed. Because once the crowd eventually turned on him, it's not a matter of if it'll happen, it's just when. He started catching the things they were throwing and the crowd was like, yeah! And they started cheering, but then some people took that as a challenge and started throwing more things at him. And I was sad, because there wasn't that like Bieber gets hit in the head moment.
Love you guys, but...
Which was fantastic. Main point, for a rich guy, Charlie Sheen's life is starting to suck. And while Charlie Sheen's life may be in a downward swing, Ron Paul's is like the polar opposite. Ron Paul went from like Republican election candidate annoyance, like career presidential loser, to being one of the most legitimate and also respected Republican candidates. In fact, because Ron Paul has started focusing on more social issues rather than just like economics, because when you start talking specific numbers with people, they're like, what are you saying? I don't care. Do you like gay people or no? Stem cell research? What about Obama and Wall Street? BP oil? And so once Ron Paul realized that people are inherently simple and just want to be able to relate, he switched up and now he has this huge group moving with him. So much so that he came in second behind Michele Bachmann, but ahead of hopeful Tim Pawlenty, who has now dropped out of the race. And so what I would say to those of you in the US that are also part of the DeFranco Nation, if you are not familiar with Ron Paul, check him out. While I don't agree with him on all things, his opinion on fair tax and big government staying out of your lives, very interesting. And honestly, I think he's really one of the only candidates that could possibly beat Barack Obama. It's just Michele Bachmann doesn't really have that overall appeal. Plus, least photogenic woman on the planet, except maybe her husband. And then we move on to a story that shows that nice guys really do finish last. And this is really just scientific research just validating what a lot of people already thought. Nice guys finish last. Specifically, that men who weren't agreeable made about 18% more, or about $10,000 more a year than their more agreeable counterparts. So ultimately, if you're kind of an asshole, but it's because you know what you want and you're not afraid to say it, you will most likely be more successful in life. And ultimately, it comes down to one of those life truths. No one likes a pussy, unless they're it. Literally or metaphorically. Also, side note, there is a difference between not being agreeable and being a dick face. Yep. But guys, then we move on to some really sad news, and that is that a stage collapsed at the Indiana State Fair on Saturday. And it's kind of crazy because this has happened several times in the past month or two. And the way the story broke down is the band Sugarland was gonna go out, but they were like, the winds are a bit crazy. Let's calm down for a second. The crowd didn't move because once you get like that jammed up towards the front, it's almost impossible to get out until the end of the show. And then this storm pops up, 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and then this happened. Which is terrifying. I mean, people were trapped under the stage, someone was paralyzed, 5 people died. And ultimately it boils down to a few things. One, the staff that responded to help those people that were trapped under the stage, fast, timely, and they probably saved lives. 2, something has to happen with stage design. You're having a concert outside, design something that can withstand that kind of storm. And 3, my thoughts go out to all of those affected by this. Really sad to see. Then we move on to guy stuff. Brooke Hogan was naked in a cage. I can't even show you the rest of that picture. I don't even know what it was for, maybe PETA. And yeah, it was for PETA. idea. I just looked it up. Power of Google. And actually, speaking of the power of Google, let's talk about our final story of the day. And that is Google is buying Motorola for $12.5 billion. Which you might be like, yeah, Google buys everything. But this is really one of Google's biggest moves because they're going into the hardware game. You know, they messed around with the Nexus 1 and stuff, and it was an okay phone. And this is a huge deal. I mean, Google plus Motorola, I mean, that's just gonna be crazy Android phones just all over the place. Motorola has like 17,000 patents out right now. Google's saying that that's one of the most appealing things about the company. And I love this because Motorola phones are really the only phones I would leave the iPhone for. Like Motorola just came out with this thing called the Defy Plus. Very simple idea. You know, it's an Android phone, but Motorola went and looked and they were like, hey, we're making these phones, these smartphones, these things that handle everything in our life. Photos, music, email, talking, social networking. It's on one device. But 99.9% of the phones out there are vulnerable to something that takes up 3/4 of the planet. Water. And so the Defy Plus is a waterproof phone. Doesn't add any crazy bulk to it, just a smart idea. So mixing a smart company with another smart company, Google is continuing to take over the world. That's it. Just some news about your future overlords. But yeah, that's gonna take us to our question of the day today, which is, what phone do you currently have and do you love it or hate it? What are you most likely gonna get? Let me know in the comments down below. I currently have an iPhone, but I'm looking at one of like the Defy Plus or maybe a 4G Android thing. I don't know. But yeah, that's it for today's show. If you want to check out any of the other things we have done today, videos, some sexy lady galleries, blah, 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 links down below in the description. If you possibly want to win a poster, Monkey or This Is America, 1, leave a comment on this video, possibly about our question of the day, and 2, clickety-clack that like button. It helps out the show and it lets me know you care. And finally, as always, my name is Philip DeFranco and you have just been filled in, and I will see you tomorrow. And ultimately, you will love this movie if you are a hopeless romantic. That you believe the meaning of life is to find that one other person and connect on a whole different level. And if not, it's still a generally good movie. Oh, that's gonna get tumbled a lot.